Any day I get to spend on or near the water is a pretty good day. And I hope you feel the same, because today we're going to meet a bunch of kids who've been on the Connecticut River for 4 days. They've been paddling, exploring, and getting a taste of what it's like to live outdoors. Welcome to Windows to the Wild. I'm Willem Lang. Today we're on the Vermont side of the Connecticut River at a campsite called Roaring Brook, about maybe 20 miles upstream from White River Junction. A bunch of kids from Thetford Academy have been on the river now for 4 days. They've been paddling, exploring, and seeing what it's like to live outdoors. Now, the conductor of this youthful symphony is none other than the maestro himself, Scott Ellis. Scott, a pleasure to see you.
Always good to see you, Will. Come here. Really good. It's always an honor.
Where you been? We've been here since 7 o'clock, you know. Good to see you, buddy.
Come here. Give me a hug. How you doing?
Not too bad. Scott and I have been on a few trips in the past.
It's true. And you'll still go with me, huh?
I didn't say that. I've known Scott for many years. We met at a wilderness canoeing event and became friends. Since then, I'm not sure I've ever seen the guy indoors. He loves being out here. But what he really likes is when people step outside with him.
Where'd you get this sled? Did you make it?
He took me camping one winter day. It was cold. Really, really cold. You should sell used cars. We managed to survive, more or less, so I suspect the kids are in fairly good hands, yes?
Yeah, these kids are doing great. I mean, they're in their own hands in some ways. That the less I do, the better leadership opportunities they have.
That's
true. The wilderness is a really cool place to do that, and experiment with what it's like to be a leader and take risks and be outside and have a good time, right?
Scott teaches.
Raise your hand if you have a toothbrush.
What? Was I supposed to bring one?
I got a toothbrush.
Yes.
Raise your hand if you have a sleeping bag.
I got a sleeping bag.
Raise your hand if you have 2 water bottles full.
I got 2 full water bottles.
He's with his students from Thetford Academy in Vermont. Did it rain the other night on you?
Yeah, rain's all right. Yesterday it was perfect, you know, like perfect day, thunderstorm, get in your tent, and then I get to go to sleep, and everything's good, right?
That's great. So they seem to come through that okay. They're still looking pretty peppy.
Yeah, this is a great group of kids. I think they're really enjoying this whole experience of being outside and being with each other and having a wholesome, healthy adventure. Yeah.
There are 2 treks these students will complete. They launch their canoes at Wells River, Vermont.
Asa, you ready for a canoe venture?
I am so ready.
Here we go.
Woo.
That guy, leader of the day. Yeah, tell me, what are you going to do? What's the plan?
Bro, we're flipping. We're flipping the boat.
I'd rather you didn't.
Ryan, you'll be the first one through, really.
Yeah.
You nervous?
No, I've done it before with my dad.
All right.
Good to go.
Good to go. This is the launch. We're going to go for a canoe trip, everybody.
5 days later, they'll pull ashore at Heartland, Vermont.
There goes the bus. Bye, bud. If we don't have it now, we don't need it.
Yeah.
This is us here. The beginning of the journey.
The second trek is on the Appalachian Trail. Some of these same students will hike 27 miles from Lyme, New Hampshire to Mount Moosilauke.
Noah, look at me and tell me about the first mile.
It was hard.
What was hard?
The angle of it, just having to always be going up.
No cell phones.
There is no cell phones on this trip. I think that's important. The kids don't really know what that's like. Like, they don't have those types of experiences very often.
Yeah.
And here, they talk to each other, they laugh, they tell jokes.
Nobody's going like this.
And you can almost see, like, the weight on their shoulders, like, releasing as they get into the groove and just release that stress. Yeah, it is good.
How many kids you got?
There are 15 people on this trip, including myself, 2 dogs as well, and a watermelon.
We'll get to the watermelon a little later. I'm sure there's a good reason Scott brought it along. You have 2 assistants too, right?
Yeah, so Sadie is with us. She is a teacher at Thetford Academy as well. Sadie, talk to me. What are you thinking about this trip? You feeling good?
For the most part, yes. As long as you don't forget anyone or anything. So far, so good.
Alex, tell me what you're doing with this trailer. I'm along with Alex, who did this trip last year and is 18, and so he's our junior leader, and giving him some more responsibility to step up. And the hope is someday he could lead this trip on his own, and I don't have to do this anymore. You let them take the show.
You don't enjoy doing this, right?
I do enjoy doing it.
Of course.
I do enjoy doing it.
Keep you back with wild horses.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, how many more days you got?
We'll have one more night after tonight, so
Yeah.
we get to spend the rest of the day here at this great campsite. Tomorrow, we'll do a pretty big day, 16 miles tomorrow, where we'll go to Gilman Island campsite, which is, you've been there before. I think I've been there with you, maybe.
Yeah,
Possibly. And that will be our last campsite, and we'll take off the next day.
Well, we ought to go meet some kids, don't you think?
Yeah, you want to go meet them? It's a cool group of kids over here.
We'll do that.
All right.
Okay.
How's your week been?
It's been going good. This is my first year. I couldn't really sleep the first night, but I've been having fun.
This is probably the best canoe trip I've been on, just because we got a lot of freedom, which is really nice, and like being able to use our knives and stuff and make spoons and what we want, and just being able to canoe out on the open water. Super peaceful and beautiful, and we're in such a nice place. And also Scott's so fun to be with, and yeah, it's just an awesome canoe trip.
I struggled with like paddling and steering the canoe because I don't canoe often as much as other people, but I'm getting the hang of it.
What I want them to get out of this is I want them to be happy, like I want them to be safe.
Yeah.
I want them to learn a bit about leadership, and also create some memories, something that they can hold on to for an experience that they can tell their friends and family about what they did out here.
Me and Ryan are about to go in the water, and hopefully enough, we don't have to save 3 people and have about a 5-person canoe. Let's see what happens.
They seem happy so far.
Yeah, they are pretty happy out here. It's amazing, how happy you can be out in the woods. Like, I'm happier out here for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's contagious too. Hopefully, like, that aura of being happy and being on the water is something they pick up on a little bit once they're out there.
Is this trip more academic and intellectual, or is it environmental? What?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's not necessarily academic, so the mission of the Thetford Outdoor Program is to ignite academic curiosity and foster environmental stewardship through outdoor exploration, recreation, and project-based learning. This one's really focused on the recreation and leadership piece of that side. School's over. School got out a few weeks ago, so the last thing these guys want is a long lecture about, invasive species or hybridization of oak trees. But you can sneak it in, and I think the best part with those is when they ask the question. But when I'm present, a lot of that just naturally, even when I attempt not to, defers to me. As someone with experience, the kids, how do you treat water? They know how to treat the water, but they keep asking me. But I'm giving them the space without me to really allow that blossoming of the leadership and the own self-exploration. And I think this is important. It's something that in the world today, these kids being even 15, 16 years old, they haven't had that independence, that feeling of they are doing this on their own. And this is a great place to do that.
We're just about to head out front. This is the captain. He'll be in front. And we're hoping he leads us in the right direction.
I mean, obviously you're in charge, but, and I can tell, but your job is to get them to take over if possible, right?
Yeah, social and emotional safety is important. So that's my role. But also, you know, the great leader speaks the least in the group. And so I strive for that. It's hard because you want to share information with them. But this morning was a great example. We packed up this morning, and they know what they need to do at this point. And so very quietly, I packed up all of my stuff, and I put all my stuff in the canoe, and then, oh yeah, Scott's getting packed up. And I tapped Alex, the junior leader on the trip, on the shoulder, and I handed him the first aid kit, and I said, I'll see you downriver. And they were still eating breakfast. And I can still barely see them from where I am right now. So the idea is when I'm there, it's difficult for them to step up and do a leadership role. I've done this a lot. It's easy for me to, you know, take care of everybody. But to really allow them to have the chance to be on their own and step into a situation of leadership, I've decided to kind of step away from the group a little bit. And I'm confident. I feel like they're going to do really well. It's a little bit challenging for them in this situation, but it's a good challenge.
I did it last year. I wasn't really a leader, just kind of did it for the experience, and then decided to do it again this year and then be the intern. It's been a little different. It's weird actually having like power over 12 kids and like being responsible for them. And then it's definitely weird when Scott disappears and then I'm on my own, but it's fun. It's a good experience. It's worth it.
I did this trip last year, and I had a junior leader who was an 18-year-old on the trip, a senior, and I did the same thing, and I tapped him on the shoulder in the morning, and I said, I'll see you down the river. And that student got an amazing experience out of it. He actually wrote his college essay, applying for colleges, on what was running through his head that morning of, oh my God, I got to feed these kids. I got to take care of this group. I'm in charge all of a sudden. And I think that was a really powerful moment for that student. All right, we're running a rapid, Charlie.
How'd you get interested in the outdoors as a kid? You must have.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Deerfield, Massachusetts, and we had a lot of wild places around us. And, you know, building forts with my friend who lived down the street. Summer camp had a big impact on me, too, like going to summer camps. And, yeah, kind of piece by piece, picking it up. I think, you know, my parents deserve some credit for instilling a little bit of love of nature and taking me on adventures. But I think I started to truly enjoy it when I was doing it with friends and on my own, and being able to kind of make my own decisions out there. And, I think it grew on me. The more people are exposed to it, the more they're going to like it, I think. And so I had some good exposure and built upon that.
That's great.
Yeah.
So obviously stuck with you all these years.
And will keep sticking with me, yeah.
This is my first. I did it as a kid at Camp Farnsworth, actually. And this is my first time as an adult. As a kid, it was such an adventure, and now I'm like, okay, are all the kids here? And I'm constantly counting, making sure they're all here. But it's also like really fun to get to spend time with kids and not be in a classroom.
One of the most amazing things about a river trip with kids like this. So these kids are in high school for the most part. We have one 8th grader, a couple sophomores, a couple seniors, one who just graduated, so a mixed age range. And the beauty is these kids out here get to be kids. They get to play. They play games and they talk to each other and they ask each other questions and they say, hey, how can I help you? We've removed the cell phones. We've removed the parents. We've removed a lot of the kind of anxiety that a teenager might feel and allowed them to be free in a pretty special way that kids don't get these days. And I think it's really like healing for them, and to be on the river and to kind of be in charge of their own destiny, and feel free to like take some risks. standing up in the boat is a risk. You might fall over. Some people might say, never stand up in the boat, but, you know, I paddled with Gil Gilpatrick on the Allagash, who's an 80-year-old with masterful experience. He stood up almost the whole trip. Like, that dude knows what he's doing, so why would I not let these kids give it a try?
It was chilly, but you get used to it, and when you spend all week on the river, it's pretty refreshing.
Slow and steady, especially here in the beginning. Fritz, you'll be the leader, you'll set the pace, but let's not crush any land speed records today.
Now, do you have any kids who are not as happy with the experience as everybody else?
I try to check in with them one-on-one and look them straight in the eyes every day.
Yeah.
And I think everybody is generally having a good time. There's bugs. You know, I think there was some moments of, oh my God, these mosquitoes the other night were really bothering them. Parker, tell me about the first mile.
It was terrible.
But I find at the end, when they all look back at it, they kind of forget those points. You know, they remember the good ones, the swimming after the log or tipping your canoe with your friend, and they tend to forget the mosquitoes that were all over you that one night.
Oh, yeah.
They haven't been complaining much. So
yeah.
I think there are maybe low moments, but nobody who's feeling really low out here. Show me your heels, Fritz. Let's look at your heels.
So yesterday, really screwed up. Didn't tighten my boots enough. So I got some pretty dirty heels.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah, I taped them up earlier today, but just sweat the tape off.
Oh, it's a double.
Yeah, it's pretty
a double.
This is what you want to be.
Yeah, I would love to be kind of in Scott's position. It seems like a great time.
Yeah. What do you get out of this?
I like just being outdoors and having the experience and learning. I love identifying the birds. We'd just be paddling by and there'd just be cliff swallows diving around. And last campsite we stayed at, there was a huge, there was a couple of bald eagles. You could hear them and stuff. It was awesome. I just love being outside, getting to have the experience of sleeping outside with the lightning and thunder last night, and just all different weather systems, and just being smack dab in the middle of it. My family's pretty outdoorsy, so I'm getting this quite a lot, but it's fun going out with other people.
Along the way, Scott makes sure there's plenty of work to do. Nearly all the campsites they stay at need some attention.
Service is an important part of learning as well. We are using these amazing campsites. Upper Valley Land Trust provides these on the Connecticut River, and we want to give back a little bit. You know, we're using something. So this site here has a Thunderbox or a Privy or a Place to Go #2, and it could use a new little trail to lead up to it. So we're gonna put this crew to work here, and we're gonna create a little bit of a trail. It's not a ton of work, but it's something that can improve this spot and make it better.
Okay, most of you guys know me because you know my kids from TA, but I'm Jason Berard, and I'm the Stewardship Director at Upper Valley Land Trust.
Now, Jason, you're not a member of this high school group, obviously.
I am not. I do happen to live in Thetford, but not a member of the Thetford Outdoor Program.
Yeah. But you do work for the Upper Valley Land Trust.
Yep.
Great outfit.
Thank you.
Just
Thank
great.
you, yeah.
And you maintain how many campsites here?
We have 10 campsites along the river.
10?
Yeah.
Wow.
From Woodsville to Claremont. So here, basically, if we could clear all this stuff back to like here.
And this group today is actually helping.
Absolutely. They were invaluable. So they brushed out a trail that was starting to get encroached with brush, which will make it both easier for people to use the campsite and also safer with regards to ticks and things like that.
Yeah.
And then they also helped improve a section of trail that was a little steep to get to the Privy.
Yeah.
and it looks beautiful. They did a great job. It was clear that they've got a lot of experience doing that kind of trail work. So they do a lot to give back to the resource, for sure.
Good work, team.
All right, we ready, guys?
Now, earlier in the story, Scott mentioned that he brought along a watermelon.
Let me introduce you to Pat. This is Pat. So these kids are so good on this trip, they needed a challenge. They needed something to push them a little bit, so we decided to bring along Pat. Now, Pat is gender neutral, so Pat prefers gender neutral pronouns like their, and I guess those other ones. And Pat has a speech impediment, so Pat can't talk. Pat also has no use of arms or legs, but Pat really enjoys doing everything that the whole group does. So Pat comes along with us in the boat. Pat eats dinner with us. Pat goes swimming with us. Pat is a general member of the group, and the kids are responsible for taking care of Pat and making sure that Pat has a great experience as possible on this trip. And one of my favorite parts is introducing Pat to the group, because I tell them about Pat beforehand. And I always ask them, are you okay with someone who's a quadriplegic coming on the trip? You know, it will require all of us to really come together and work together. And they get very serious, and they're all like, yeah, we can do this, we can do this. And then I pull out a watermelon. Some laugh, some cry, but it's a great way to kind of push them to step up and have some leadership. And it's fun, too, to bring a watermelon on a trip. So this is Pat.
5 days ago, these students set out on a trek. They paddled.
Morning, Crystal.
Hiked and lived together. In one way, the journey ends today. But in many ways, it just begins.
Julie, what were your favorite parts of this whole canoe trip?
Favorite parts? I think, was it Tuesday? I think it was Tuesday when it was raining. Like, it had some nice rain, and then between the rain we would play Spud. Favorite part of Spud was when I hit the ball they was throwing at me. I hit it to the ground, and then I kicked it up with my foot and dove for it. I didn't catch it, though, but I hurt myself, but it was fun.
My name's Ryan Malloy. I've been out here about 5 days, and this is my last and final campsite, guys. It's been a tough 5 days. We just paddled another 16 miles today from where were we?
When you do a wilderness trip with someone, there's a funny thing when you come back, people always say, hey, how was the trip? Or with our class, like, what's it like in the class? And you try and tell them, but nobody fully understands it. To really understand that experience, you have to be on it. So the only people that you know will really understand you are those people. So you have that strong bond.
I thoroughly enjoyed my sleep in the hammock last night. I woke up to the sound of Fritz yodeling. After that, I ate a bagel, and soon after, we headed out for a 16-mile paddle.
And those kids have bonded that way. So, yeah, it's a cool piece of the whole experience, and it's a friendship-building piece that they can build friends in a new way. And some of the kids on this trip might not have been friends before, but I bet you they're going to be eating lunch together when they get back to school next school year.
I'm going to miss the people and paddling every day and being outside for sure the most, and just socializing without an electronic in front of me or something like that.
Yeah! You made it! You've made it to the end of the journey! Parker, you've been looking forward to this moment. Noah, how you feel?
Hurt, but proud.
Nice.
Well, we've had a great visit here, but it's come once again to that time I like the least, the time we have to say goodbye. especially to all these great guys from Thetford Academy. Yeah, we wish them well on their voyage, and we'll be taking our own voyage home shortly. But it's been a tremendous pleasure to meet you guys. Thank you for having us.
We got one more spot in the boat, Will. You want to join us?
Well, yeah, I want to, but I got to get back to work. I'm Willem Lang, and I hope to see you all again on Windows to the Wild. Support for the production of Windows to the Wild is provided by the Alice J. Reen Charitable Trust, the Fuller Foundation, the Gilbert Verney Foundation, and viewers like you. Thank you.